When did it become a requirement to be sexually attracted to every game protagonist? Like, do I have to have the Jones for Mario or something? Like,
you guys have been playing the video games?
Fuck, dude, I've been doing it all wrong.
You've been gooning.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Chris with the zoomer
Holy
take.
shit.
Will just sits on the start menu with a bottle of KY jelly. And welcome back to episode 165 of Gamified. Welcome back. The show where people actually break down the biggest stories in the games industry, one game mode at a time. Every topic has a format. Every panelist gets a clock, and nobody gets to be boring. I'm back in the host chair after my honeymoon, 2 weeks off. Big shout out to Peyton, who's on this panel for co-hosting or replacement hosting, substitute hosting the last few weeks. This week, we rescore God of War Laufey now that the data is in. GTA 6 just broke the pricing ceiling. 24 of the top 25 games winning attention at Summer Games Fest were sequels. Yikes. Every console gets more expensive at once. Epic kills the feature that made Unreal accessible and Expedition 33 possible. And a crypto unicorn just bet its whole future on becoming AppLovin. This man ran consumer products at two of the biggest entertainment companies on earth back to back, Disney and NBC Universal. And he can tell you exactly what a Zoomer does in their spare time because he is one. It's Chris Heatherly.
welcome back.
Thanks, buddy. It's good to see you again. Up next, building parallel. He is the king of the cards, going from legal software to building 3 games at once, and his camera is currently off. It is Koji Nagata. We'll be back to him in just a second. This man runs marketing for Battle Trade, spending his time grinding things most of us would never install. It's Dub.
Yo, good to be here, dude. I have 2 trades open on the side. If I'm, off on anything, it's that.
Yeah, you also sound like you're on the other side of the world right now.
Sick, dude. Glad to be here.
Up next, he spent a few weeks running this show from the host chair, so we better get used to playing those cards and coming prepared. It is Peyton.
Nailed it. What's up?
And giving indie games a chance to get the attention they deserve via game cred, it's Mr. Will Spangler.
Hell yeah, good to be back.
Last but not least, the titan of Twitch, now building Mako.ai to build the future of video games. It is my boy, Tony V.
What's up? Stoked to be here, guys. Let's
Great
go.
to have you back as always. The energy in the pre-show was absolutely phenomenal, so I'm expecting this to be a banger of an episode. We're starting off first with a sentiment score. You're going to give me 0 to 10, depending on how you feel about this. 2 weeks ago, we talked about God of War Laufey, the announcement that they're going to move from Kratos being the main character to his wife, I believe it is, that was like in prison in a heavenly realm or whatever that they had a couple of cutscenes of. The verdict at the time was 4 panelists calling it bullshit, 1 reluctant bull that I think really just took that side because he was, thinking that it would make the show more interesting. The knock, of course, was swapping Kratos for Faye on a reported $200 million budget with absolutely nobody seeing this coming. In addition to changing the combat itself was pretty negative. It seems like the internet in general agreed with us, thinking it was bullshit instead of bullish, but Gamified's very own Colin Neese had the data that might sway those opinions, so we wanted to bring it up one more time. His mind game data board said that it was a wild success at grabbing attention. Colin couldn't join today, but across 2 tracked weeks of Summer Games Fest 2026, Laufey was the #1 runaway game of the season, and it is not close. It has 3 times the amount of mindshare as the game in second place. That is fucking crazy. So the question is, does this change your opinion? I'm going to do sentiment score on God of War Laufey now that we know that it is getting 3 times more attention. Obviously, a lot of that could be negative. Just to be clear, Mind Game measures consumption, searches, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok time. It does not measure sentiment. So all news is good news whenever it comes to this data in particular. I'm going to go around the horn. Give me your sentiment score, 0 to 10. Now that we know all this attention is grabbing, Tony, go ahead.
I'm going to give it a 10. 10!
I might get 3. I'm sorry.
8. 5.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
All right, Tony, I'm going to you first, then we'll tag Wills back in.
It's good marketing. It's controversial, and my roommate when I worked at Nintendo was this guy, super nice guy. He used to take a whole week off every time they released Zelda to play and beat Zelda. He was a core gamer, and in every game that this guy played, where you could choose your character. He always chose a female, and I asked him why, and he said, because if I'm going to play a game where I'm watching someone run around for 40 hours, then I want it to be a female. And I never subscribed to that directly, but I think there's a whole category of people for whom that is true, and this is just another data point towards that theory.
Wow. Short and sweet. He just wants to see them cheeks bounce. Let's go over to Will. Why are you giving this one a 3?
I'm sorry. Like, that is like, we're talking a little bit about people shitting on Supergirl because they look around and they're like, wait a second, I can't jack off to this. What the fuck's going on? And like, that's just such like a shitty way to like experience the world. And I don't know. Look, I was pretty bearish on Laufey the other week, and not on the game and not on like everything that they've built, but on the sentiment. And that's why I'm bearish again. I'm not bearish on the game. The game looks amazing, and I think that and what I think is important to note about the Laufey release is the sheer volume of content that they released for an initial announcement. I think we got, 25 to 40 minutes of gameplay or something ridiculous like that. For an initial release, that's unheard of. And I think that's why they were able to capture so much mindshare. And I think the reason you have the mindshare ticking up so much is because people are watching all 20 minutes. People are sitting down and watching a 25-minute video versus other games where they're watching a 2.5-minute trailer. And then you also have the controversy side of things where people were like, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And like, that's feeding into it as well. But like, my 3 comes again, not directed at the game, but at like this meaning anything. Like, I don't think that this having an exponentially large share of the mindshare right now actually means anything for how the game is going to perform. I think that, and this is going to play into my take on GTA 6.
That is a terrible take. There's no way that you don't have mindshare that it does not translate to sales or some type of thing in the future. That's just completely wrong, Wills. As well as I couldn't do it.
But what's the mindshare? Tell me what the mindshare is, Peyton. Tell me what people think of this game right now as a flat opinion. What is the mindshare? Tell me.
Please. Saying
the
that
cheeks.
The cheeks. I will say that no, it's top of mind, right? So whenever it gets revisited and stuff, like I remember that. It takes like touch points many times to actually make a sale for a game. If you look at the different types of touch points, and this is what Colin's trying to bring up, is that you have many different types of touch points that you are familiar with something. And this is not even just gaming, but it's just in sales in general. It takes 8 to 12 touch points.
But I'm saying, what I'm saying is that this data that is being talked about, this mind share, is people who haven't seen the trailer, people who haven't played the game, people who don't even know what God of War is talking shit. Like, that's what this is. Like,
yeah, but it doesn't, like, that's the thing, though. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just, it's in their mind. And
I'm sorry, no, it does. It does matter what it is, because if those people are talking about the game, they're not going to buy it anyways. So why the fuck does it matter? Like, I think the value of the data and the value of the
understanding the name. It's understanding that there is a new God of War coming up. But whenever these things don't launch tomorrow, this is a campaign that is going to go on for months.
Yeah, Wills, I gotta jump in here. Wills, I usually find your marketing and sales and PR sense to be super sharp, and I've actually never seen you be this wrong before. So it's a new one for me. The idea that having people who aren't going to buy your product talking about your product not mattering is farcical, right? Like that define brand marketing, right?
Okay, that's very fair. That like I see where you guys are coming from, but this is a $200 million game. We were going to be talking about it. That's not like up for debate. Like I think what I'm trying to say is that for a game of this size, of this magnitude, the way that it was going to be launched, this doesn't tell me anything. This doesn't tell me anything that other than that this is a $200 million game and it's going to take up $200 million worth of my feed. Like, that was a given. I don't think that they've been able to do a lot with that. I don't think that they've been able to cater any sort of positive sentiment or positive engagement with the platform. Anyways, they released 25 minutes of footage and captured Summer Games Fest in a season where like there weren't really any competitors for that kind of mindshare. Like I just like that's what all I'm saying is that I don't think that this is a massive success by any means, and that this mindshare is like a well spent use of that $200 million.
I think that's crazy. I think that's crazy. I think we're sitting here talking this much about it in the same week that GTA 6 announced their pre-release. And like, it's not just us. It's that like that's like
Well,
they did the thing. They did the thing. They said, "Hey, we're gonna release a bunch of announcement right around the same." And we don't know when Rockstar is gonna do their shit. We know it's gonna be somewhere in here. And like that, those conversations happen. These guys are smart, right? They all sat around and said, "Hey, we got to release a bunch of shit right around the same time Rockstar is gonna be releasing their shit. How do we do that?" And they said, someone said the cheeks, and then someone else said, "Johnson, you're a genius," and that's how we ended up here. Everything I said up until the cheeks, I meant very seriously. After the cheeks was obviously a joke. But really, like, I think that they've done a really good job of leveraging everything about this launch to make a bunch of noise at a time when their only path to success is to make as much noise as possible. Because otherwise, everyone would just be talking about GTA right now.
I do want to get Chris in here because I know he managed some massive franchises, and I do agree, Tony, with especially what you're saying. Like, I would not be talking about this at all if it was another Kratos. I'd be excited. I'd be like, oh, I'm going to buy that, and I'm looking forward to that. But it wouldn't be a topic on this show. So, Chris, how do you think about the risk versus reward, especially whenever you're talking about a franchise that's expected to generate a fuck ton of revenue, and you have to make sure that you maintain the prestige, to use a word from last week that's very, very inflammatory, of an IP like this.
Prestige gaming.
Prestige gaming.
Thumbnail, Chris.
I think that every franchise wants to be more than one character, right? And lots of franchises try. I mean, a lot of people will tell you that really DC, that DC, there isn't a big DC fandom. There's a big Batman fandom, right? Like that, like every time they make a Superman movie, people are like, "Why are you making another fucking Superman movie?" So people anchor on these iconic characters and they want to see them again and again and again in different situations. And when you change it to another character that was a supporting character, or in this case, a character that wasn't even in the story, present in the story, you run a risk, right? I think I've seen reactions that are positive to this idea, and so it kind of like mellowed me out on the "does anybody want this" question, right? But I still think there's a mistake in the way they marketed it, in that the conversation we're having, which is a stupid conversation to have, honestly, is like, oh, do I want to play a God of War game with a girl, right? And that's stupid. Like, I feel like they should have done more to set up that this was going to be Laufey's story and to build anticipation going into the announcement to see what it was, and build more of a rationale for why we're going to do Laufey's story. Because I think there's a lot of people who also have the perspective that, like, why isn't this the son's story? Because that's what we've been building up to, right? So I just think that I think there was a messaging communications piece that they were gambling on the shock surprise, and maybe they were anticipating, like, look, this is going to be controversial and it's good for us because it's going to create mindshare. And what Colin is saying is all press is good press, right? So in the end, it only matters if it sells. And I have some skepticism. I think if you look at the audience for God of War, maybe it's 80%, maybe it's 60%, but I don't know that it's 100% of people who bought the last God of War are interested in the Laufey game. And so then the question, it's just an ROI question. And was it budgeted appropriately and that kind of thing? Ultimately, I don't give a shit, right? Like, I want there to be, great games and diverse games. I just want, but what I don't want is an industry that keeps putting out games where people don't want, and then they fail, and then no one wants to invest in other games, right? And so that's my main concern.
Yeah, I feel similarly. Dub, Koji, anything you guys want to add to this before we move on?
Yeah, for me, why I gave it a 3 is just because I think, like, I am the, like, Cheeks customer client base. And
I look in the mirror and I just identify deeply.
Exactly. And I haven't been touched by the Cheeks. So, like, I'm concerned about the success of the marketing overall. But on a serious, like, my feed is full of Mecha Chameleon, all sorts of games right now that are hot and heavy, but I'm not seeing this one on that.
Chameleon is not on heavy duff. What are you talking about?
You haven't seen
There's
what
no
I've seen,
cheeks in
dude.
Chameleon unless you draw them, bro.
Just watch Mr.
What?
Peanut, dude.
You could draw them,
For that, I'm concerned, and that was my main point.
Koji tagging you in, bud.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that the only thing I've seen on the timeline, and this goes back to something that I was saying off mic, is just like a bunch of incel nonsense about how, they aged up Deborah Wall and like she's not hot enough or whatever, and like it would have been better if it was like a like a Bayonetta or a Nier, or whatever. It's just like I think that the problem here is, as much as we don't want to admit it, gaming is still a very toxic place to exist, and a lot of gamers are very toxic. And so to front your game with the crazy part is that they like made her look less attractive, I think, than she naturally does. And so to like front your game with somebody like that amongst all the already sort of like bullshit chatter that goes on the internet, it's just like you're almost asking for trouble. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have done it. I mean, fuck those people, in my opinion. But I just think that like it is going to be like, the only press that I'm hearing is like, they should have, it has nothing to do with the game. Even it's just like the girl wasn't attractive enough or something. And I
the same things happen, right, Koji, with like Fable and also like Witcher 3, right? Not Witcher 3, but Witcher 4 with Ciri. Is like a lot of this, like, and this is to Chris's point, is like this demographic that leans male dominant, but also you have to look at also those characters that they're replacing with. Kratos is like a very male heterosexual, like pushing the boundaries of like sex back in the day, right? With like mature games with the PlayStation 2. And you look at like Fable, same type of thing, in terms of like free choice and all that stuff, also push the boundaries of culture of being that. And then, the last one, which was Ciri, which you have like Witcher, which is Geralt, which is like one of the most heterosexual males in gaming as well, too. So it's like one of those things. It's like, you have to be careful with the demographic in terms of like a pure ROI perspective, because like some of those guys like wanted that,
I think they should have just gone full original God of War and just flipped it around and just had dicks out the entire time. Just like have her walk into a room full of dicks,
100%.
And then let's see how people feel about it.
No, 100% agree with you.
We're gonna move on, but
when did it have the Jones for Mario or something? Like
you guys have been playing the video games?
Fuck, dude, I've been doing it all wrong.
You've been gooning.
Oh my god.
Chris with the Zoomer
Holy
take.
shit.
Jones just sits on the start menu with a bottle of KY jelly. And I just think I have no problem with her not being hot, although that is a surprise, right? It is an interesting decision to make, including the Fable thing that you mentioned, Peyton. I saw some stuff around that too, where people were like, what the fuck is like every character mid looking for? It's just, it is surprising, even though it's fine. The problem that I still have is that they have completely changed the combat from the looks of the combat and given it to us in a God of War packaging. I think what they should have done is they should have spun it off. It should have been Goddess of War. It should have been, hey, this is going to be more of like a rogue style combat than the bruiser combat that you're familiar with. And we're going to release, if it does well, we're going to continue to release these every 4 years and do like a every 2 years back and forth with a different studio and have God of War and Goddess of War. And now we have
like
two amazing things, just like Call of Duty does, except for like a little bit more delayed because you can't get that much fatigue for single player. And I think that would be an amazing situation for them to find themselves in if people respond to this well.
Just to jump in, we like the thing is that's what people thought was coming. Like we knew this was coming for years. We've known, they're doing a God of War game that's going to feature Faye as the protagonist. That was a headline. I don't know if it was 2, 3, 4 years ago, but like that was something that we knew. And I think that the big backlash right now is like, this is God of War. It's not a spin-off. This is what they've been working on instead of another God of War game. That's the mismatch. So I fully agree.
I think it's wild. It's come up on this episode and the last time we discussed this, and a lot of the comments have been the branding, right? Like people really object to the branding. And I think it goes back to the comment, which is kind of weird, right? But it goes back to what I'm saying, which is like, I think in retrospect, there was a failure to position this with the audience the right way, which would have gotten them probably more positive feedback and less controversy, but maybe they wanted the controversy. That's my thought.
And that is why we brought it up, right? Is because it is super controversial. It's getting a ton of attention. And so there is something to be said for that. And maybe in 3 months they go, haha, just kidding. It is Goddess of War. We're spinning it out. And it's, and they do the thing. Who knows? Peyton, you wanted to get a last word in.
No, I was going to add, like, me playing male characters too. I don't want to be a 30-year-old dad bod. Like, I do want to be a muscular Kratos or anything like that too. So I also want to be very like real. That like, I want to have escapism and be somebody that I don't, not in the real world. So
I'm trying to get that Homer Simpson bod, dude. That's what I want.
That's weird because I play as you, Peyton, when I play video.
Yeah, Chris, I feel bad for you. Hopefully you're not playing with one hand there, Chris, like in the Telegram chat.
All right, we move on to the news of the day. This broke, I don't know, 2 hours ago or something as of the time of filming this. Rockstar just priced Grand Theft Auto 6, $80 standard edition, $99.99 deluxe edition. The $80 is the number to sit with. The whole generation, this industry has only crept to $70 for premium games. Rockstar walked it up to $80. I was actually advocating that they should just price this at $100. I thought that would have been a no-brainer. They still would have sold just as many copies from my perspective. Personally, it could be wrong. Here's the gravity behind that confidence, though. GTA 5 launched on September 13th and did about $1 billion in sales in its first 3 days. That moved roughly 11.2 million units in the first 24 hours, and it sold well over 200 million lifetime copies. One of the best-selling games ever. GTA 6, the most anticipated launch probably in the history of video games, period. So over under $2 billion sold, basically double what GTA 5 did in 3 days is what I'm asking you guys. Do we think it's going to double what GTA 5 did in 3 days, which would be about 25 million copies at that $80 price point? But the follow-up question I'm more interested in, which is, what does this actually do for the industry? I hear so many people saying, like, don't worry, Grand Theft Auto is going to save the industry. And I just don't see how Rockstar getting what's probably going to be $5 to $10 billion over the next, I don't know, 18 months, let's call it, does for me as a person who doesn't work at Rockstar and holds no Rockstar stock, which even if I did, I think it's all priced in anyway. Literally every single panelist is buzzed in the background here. Do you guys think they're going to do over under $2 billion in the first 3 days in sales?
Over.
Under.
Over.
Under.
Ooh, I am going to Koji first on this one. Koji, you said under. Give me that and give me your take on what this does for the actual industry in totality.
I mean, I think it's going to get there. So it's not as if when I say under, like, it's going to take a bit more time than that, I think, but not by much. Like, I do think it's going to get there, but just not that quickly because it's more expensive. I suspect that, they will make more money, but there might be some holdouts or whatever. As far as what it does for the industry, though, I think that, like, really the only thing that it could possibly do is show people that taking more time to make a good game and releasing it when it's ready, if it is actually good, is the way to go, right? Like, it might just change some the mentality of the people making and financing the games. And the bummer part about that, though, is if it does that, you're not going to see the downstream ramifications for another like 3, 4, 5 years after that, right? Because it's like, hey, we're going to make AAA games, but we're not going to rush them to market. I mean, the same way that, like, we're looking at Marvel movies now being like, oh, well, they fucked it up because, like, they pushed too hard and it's all garbage now, right? And so I think that, like, we'll look at this and be like, okay, the video game industry can do better given enough time and money, but now we have to wait the time and probably need the money. So I don't know. I don't know what it does for gamers in the short to medium term. Probably nothing other than give you a great game to play. But, like, it's going to make its money very quickly. I said under, but very quickly afterward, just because everyone's getting out of the way of this game, right? It's like Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey or something. They were selling tickets for that motherfucker like a year in advance. And whenever this game comes out, nobody's releasing games within like 2 weeks before or after, just because they're going to be fucking afraid of this juggernaut. So
doesn't that mean, though, that everybody's going to be like, well, what do I buy except for Grand Theft Auto, because everybody's gotten out of the way of it? Chris, I'm tagging you in.
Hold on. You're exposing yourself as a fucking upper crust or 1%er here. You're just like, oh, there's nothing for me to buy. There's no $80 game for for me to buy this week. So what am I going to buy? Oh, I might as well just buy GTA.
I might as well buy.
Not everyone's running out to buy $80 games every week, brother.
Dude, that is a crazy ignorant take, as if people don't buy the thing that everyone's talking about. Oh yeah, nobody's ever gone, oh, I want to buy the thing that all of my friends are playing and talking about. Yeah, nobody will do that. Go ahead, Chris.
It's going to be the highest grossing entertainment event of all time, whatever the number is. I mean, it's a matter of spend depth, right? You can't, you as expensive as movies are, an individual can't spend $80 on a movie. You're capped at like $23 or something. So, it's just giving people, it's giving people the ability to spend so much more on any other on this form of entertainment than any other kind of like, thing like it. It'll be interesting to see what Hollywood does and whether they get out of the way or not, because would you want to be a movie that opened that weekend or a TV show that, unless you're counter programming with like a romantic comedy or something, like it's over. Like you can't put out a game for men that week and expect, or any kind of movie for men that week and expect it to do anything. I think, what does it do for the industry? The news couldn't be worse for gaming right now. So I don't know if you guys saw, but now Tencent is talking about selling off their studios. Like, all the business news around games is terrible. So like any kind of good news is good for us. I think any kind of stock going up, especially now that EA is off the stock exchanges, and having investors pay attention to games in a positive way for once is good for us. But what it's also going to do is, it's going to suck a lot of time. Consoles are already largely boxes where people play Fortnite and COD and 3 or 4, big games. And this is going to be one of those. And a lot of the revenue making opportunity is going to be within GTA around if they introduce creator kind of modes into it. Right. So I think it may create a whole creator market on console that hasn't really existed except through, kind of through Fortnite and through Roblox. So it'll bring that into AAA, which could be really cool if it happens. But I don't think that it creates a lot of room for other games around it for a little while.
Going to Peyton, then we're tagging in Tony.
Yeah, I think it's going to go way over just for the fact that like social media is also a lot more mature than it was back in 2014 whenever GTA 5 released. And so you're looking at a lot more people. I looked it up before the show started. Like Facebook had like 1.39 billion users at that point in 2014. Now it's at 3 billion. TikTok wasn't even invented at that point. So now you have a whole bunch of like clipping, a whole bunch of other things that are going to be massively pushing the first 72 hours of this. Streamers are going to be clipping, which has, 240 million versus their 55 million before. I think also what we would do for the gaming industry, I think, is going to be mostly around the birth of AI plus private servers for GTA. I think it's going to be massive, even if it's not going to be as useful or as like UGC friendly as like, let's say, Roblox or Fortnite Unreal Engine creative. It's going to be completely dominated by Claude and others that are just going to be taking these private servers and then running their own. I think there's going to be a lot of people that make money off of like cosmetics and all that stuff within their own servers. Like you also have to think that GTA 5 got really popular with like role play like after GTA 5 was released. So now you're going to migrate all of that with GTA 6. And so you just have a variety of content. I know, Koji, you said that in the comments that like it's boring and like Dub is gonna say it's a walking simulator like a freaking dummy. But like in terms of that side of things, it's like it's one of those things that I think is just gonna have a lot of content generated around it with a lot more mature like communications. It's gonna blow up and go way over and also print a lot of millionaires, in my opinion, due to the private servers and everything that people are gonna host.
Yeah, it seems like this is going to be the next UGC behemoth just based off of the success of the role-playing servers like you've talked about. Tony, tagging you in.
I'm going to tell you guys a story. Wills knows this, but I'm working on a little indie game myself, and one of the community members that I've got for the game, this kid that play tests for me, he also makes videos for the game. His name is Vince. Love him. Vince, if you're watching, you're great. Your videos are great. Vince is... I don't know for sure how old he is, but I think he's like 17, 18. He's a 17, 18-year-old Nepalese kid. He lives in Nepal. His dad is like like some sort of blue collar worker there. He has like his room is very Spartan, right? And he's got like his computer and that's it. This kid is excited about Grand Theft Auto, right? And so like that to me is like it's reached everywhere, right? Like this is a kid living in rural Nepal. And like earlier today, he's like, "Hey man, did you see the GTA announcement?" Right? Like that is like everyone knows about GTA. Everyone on the planet knows about GTA, and so I just can't imagine that it's not gonna go over. And in terms of what it does for the industry, I don't need to repeat what everyone said here, but yeah, I think it. I don't know that I would say for sure that it's going to happen, but I really believe that. And Mark Long said this once that. Kids don't decide they don't want to create and play things that other kids created when they stop playing Roblox. They just don't have anything to graduate to. And the first company that creates a landing pad for those kids is going to make a whole bunch of money. I don't know if this is going to be it, but I think it continues to have the greatest shot to graduate that large group of creators and people who created content into a more AAA experience. Again, maybe it's, I said that about Fortnite as well, and it didn't really do that at scale. So, but I think people are going to keep taking shots on goal, and that's the way I imagine it would help move the industry forward. Otherwise, yeah, it's just making the Housers, $1 bazillion every few years, which is great. Love you, Housers. Thank you for making great games.
I just want to add that it's not just people on Earth, but you guys have been hearing all about like this alien shit all year and all the disclosure, and that we're gonna roll. They're only here for GTA 6.
It's true. I didn't know where that was going, but I love you, Chris.
You know what I do find interesting about this title too is we talk a lot in MMOs how there's kind of a monopoly. It's like you play World of Warcraft, you maybe I guess play Elder Scrolls or Final Fantasy or whatever. Like there are some others kind of, but it's World of Warcraft and then everybody else.
And RuneScape for Knock.
Yeah, and RuneScape for Knock. Sorry, excuse me. And I don't know a single. If I said I don't play Grand Theft Auto, but I love that genre, like what the fuck else would I be talking about?
True.
Maybe Cyberpunk is like the closest you get, sort of. Like if you love this game and this genre, there is nowhere else to go. The well is dry. You're playing Grand Theft Auto 5 for the past 12 years waiting for this shit. Mm-hmm. And so it is interesting. Like that's it. Everybody's coming to this. Peyton, going to you.
Well, the other one is also owned by Rockstar, which is Red Dead Redemption 2. You know what I mean? So like when it comes down to it, there's like nothing else. And the closest probably parallel is like Skyrim or something like that, right? Like, and I would say that's like the only other like open world, maybe quest dialogue, but there's no other one that like does story this well across many different like types of missions and stuff. And so excited to just see it, but I know the negative Nancys are about to show up with Dub and Koji, so I will give my permission to them.
Dub, go ahead.
Yeah, so I put under just because from all of my experience in working in gaming, I've never seen any game hit metrics they said they were going to make. So I don't think they are going to hit 2 billion, and like I think they're going to come right under it. I think they're going to miss it there. I think, and it was to Chris's point on like they're missing the younger generation. I think sure they're going to nail it with all of their existing audience and for things like that. But even for the
people with money, the people that spend money,
dude. But everyone, whatever, you can be just accept it. The point being, on the flip on what this does for the industry is like this is the elephant in the room that's going to finally get out of the fucking room. Like it's crazy how many projects, teams, things have been delayed and then ultimately canceled or moved around just because GTA was going to launch in Q4 of this year, and finally seeing that out of here is just, I think, a big like huge mechanism for the industry as a whole. And we'll see more tries on goal, new games, this kind of stuff start to come out, be public, go marketing as soon as this thing finally flops, which I'm expecting it to do.
Are Zoomers and millennials going to try to cancel this game?
No, that's what I'm saying, dude.
They're not going to.
I don't think
touch
they're going to come out. I don't
think Zoomers like are cancel culture people, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like,
Zoomers are saying horrible words.
Have you watched any of the Twitch streams? Those guys do not give a
more
crap.
offensive than I am for sure.
Yeah. Millennials are the ones that were like, "Hey, you guys have to be quiet and stop saying all the words that you guys said in high school."
Yeah.
And then Zoomers were like, nah, I don't care.
We're still in high school.
Are millennials going to cancel it though? Or are they going to be like, I can't believe they allowed pimp slapping or whatever? You know,
No,
dude.
because we grew up like we grew up on it.
And they consume so much gooning content that they're going to be like, oh, I could go to a strip club. I could see girls twerking.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
everything you do there is private.
I'll say I only feel comfortable saying this because my 10-year-old child watches this show, but my 10-year-old man, I guess maybe that doesn't say, maybe it says something about me as a parent, but my 10-year-old child watches this show, The Amazing Digital Circus, and there were many other 10-year-olds in the movie theater when we went to go see the finale. But talking about like words that are coming back and stuff, one of the main characters in this show uses the word gay as a pejorative, like oh, that's gay, or and like all of the kids were like, I had to like ask my child, I was like, hey, is that, I thought you kids like didn't, I thought that was like off the menu now, you guys couldn't say that shit anymore. and Hazel was like, no man, it's like fucking Jaxie says it, or whatever the character's name was.
He's like, stop being gay, Dad.
And then your own child called you gay.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, come on now.
You're stop being gay, Dad. You're cringe. I was like, oh my god, what is going on here?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I see Koji and Wills both buzzing in. Koji, I'll go to you quickly, and then Wills to finish this up.
Yeah, I mean, I started off the topic and I didn't say anything negative, and I won't now because I think it's going to sell well. But my question really is like, what happens if everyone gets it and they just don't like it that much? Like, what happens if it's like a cyberpunk situation where, you know, like,
that's the only.
What happens? What happens if ice cream starts tasting like shit? Like what? Yeah. What happens? What happens if I wake up tomorrow and just decide that like I don't need taste buds anymore?
That was a gamified version. You got to shut the fuck up and a mic drop played at the exact same time.
Crazy.
On the exact same person. That's
Good point, Tony. Because we've never had a game come out that was supposed to be good that was bad. It's never happened.
Name one from Rockstar.
I will say though, the only thing that I'll come to Koji's defense is that CD Projekt Red had no misses before Cyberpunk, right? So like in terms of that, like in terms of Witcher 2, Witcher 3,
was asked.
Yeah, Quinn was with
all I was saying was much like ice cream, for which we have no evidence should taste like shit. I think that it might be hand-wringing and not rooted in historical precedent that the bazillion people who are going to buy and play this Grand Theft Auto game are not going to enjoy it. Dude,
if this game is bad, the economy is over and we are going back to
we're just overthrow the country.
All I'm saying is again, Cyberpunk was the most pre-ordered game in history before, you know, obviously this is going to overtake that, no question. And I'm not suggesting it will be bad. I'm just posing the question, what happens if people don't like this? Like, I can't imagine that being true. It's like when your favorite band releases a mediocre album, you convince yourself that it's like the greatest album in the history of the world. But like, what happens if this comes out as not?
There will be negativity for sure, right? Because it's negativity travels on social media.
Yeah,
and, you know, I mean, Grums is like, you know, the girls won't be hot enough and the boobs won't be big enough. They'll cry about that, and it's gone woke and what, you know what I mean? Like. It's happening.
Let's just say, Chris, it's like a 7 out of 10. Everybody expects it to be 10 out of 10, one of the greatest games of all time. They spent $2 billion making it in 12 years. What if it's just like kind of mid and then it doesn't get the second day or third, let's say second week sales that we would expect because, you know, people play it first week, 25 million people buy it. They say, oh my God, this is the greatest thing. They see all the clips, whatever. But if it's like a 6 or a 7 out of 10, maybe they just go, I guess I'm good. I'll play the things that are coming out.
I think it would have to be a 3.
Really?
People are so pumped for this, dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, it could get
this is going to have Star Wars sequel energy of Cope around it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, agreed.
People who are like I saw your post about the fucking Pod Racer game. Like, that's what I'm talking about. People who are telling themselves the fucking Phantom Menace is a good game or a good movie. You know,
Pod Racer
like you still got nostalgia for it. You're still coping after all these years. If you're making that into, you know, oh my God, I can't wait, it's so special in my childhood. Like, this game's gonna cruise through.
Yeah, I hate Star Wars, and I see those clips of the pod racing game, and I just go, holy fuck, that's gonna ruin my life. That's gonna be so good. I think. Well, Koji, I wanted to ask you. Well, yeah, what do you think would happen? Let's say it sucks. What's gonna happen to the industry Does that just mean we go from a $200 billion industry to a $100 billion industry? They're like, all right, it's completely cooked, boys. Back it up.
I think we start looking for the video game equivalent of Kane Parsons or Curry Barker, and we're just like, okay, let's spend the least amount of money on the most on the most indie of games and try and build it back up from scratch because AAA is dead.
Wills, I'll give you the last word, then we move on.
Yeah, look, I said under at the beginning because I think a large part. Because I think it's worth noting that like the initial release is only a console release. Like I think a successful launch for this game is not just whether people are buying this game; it's whether people are buying consoles to play it. That is, I think, is going to be the really interesting stat. Is are people buying PS5s so that they can play GTA? And if they are, then it's successful. And then we've done the job, and that's a successful. If they aren't, and they're waiting for the PC release, or they're waiting for something else, like if it doesn't have people buying out shelves, then that it's not going to be a success. And I'm not fully confident that being a console only release, it's going to be able to pull those kind of numbers on day one. And I think that the question you asked Koji is actually really prevalent of like, because I think we're all talking about like, oh, what kind of game is GTA like? What are the comparables? It doesn't really have any because it's so big. That's the thing, is it's got it caters to so many different play styles within it. GTA being bad would be so difficult because there are so many avenues through which it can be good, and it succeeds by bringing people together into the one place to do all of those things. And so, like, the one take I did hate was when Peyton compared this to Skyrim, because I think they are completely different.
They are different.
And
I said the closest, by the way.
No. But that's what I think. It's a really interesting point. I was reading an article today about the Elder Scrolls 6. I think the reason we haven't heard about the Elder Scrolls 6 is because we haven't heard about GTA 6. I think the two are related. I think that what does it look like if GTA does well? A resurgence in AAA, as kind of Koji was saying, of bigger budgets, longer timelines, these kind of things. But I think, because we've been talking about Xbox a lot the last few years, I think this is a really opportunity for legacy franchises to come in and make really bold, really awesome bets on their IPs in the way that Rockstar has bet on GTA 6. So if GTA 6 is a success, that's what it's going to look like. I think we're going to see a new Halo. I think we're going to see more Gears. I think we're going to see a new mainline God of War on top of Laufey. Like, those are the kind of things that I think we're going to see if GTA is successful. And if not, I think it's going to be, as Koji was saying, I think it's going to be really an indie renaissance.
And just the only thing that contrasts with that is we keep saying like the live service model is proven that it's cooked. And now we're like, well, if this succeeds, then live service back on the menu. Like, let's do it.
That's the thing is I pray that we are not that stupid. I really do. I think like I think that there definitely will be a little bit of that. But I think we've as an industry come to realize, okay, Rockstar could do it, Epic can do it, Roblox can do it. We can't. And that's okay, because there's a lot of stuff that we can do that isn't that. And there's a lot of opportunity that isn't that. I doubt we'll see kind of a live service kind of wave roll in as we've similar to what we had seen before, because it's been beaten to death. But what I think we will see is a lot more kind of prestige experiences, for lack of a better word.
The last thing I'll say is that this can't be bad for very long. It can be bad at release, but it will not be bad by the time that the PC version comes out, because they will have so much money. If they have a year and they throw another $300 million at fixing whatever people are mad about, there's just no way they let it be bad for very long. It would be such an insane fuck up to build a game for 12 years with this much money and this much hype and a formula that they know works, that I just don't believe that it can be bad for very long.
We were talking about crunch before this. I can just thinking of the crunch of like a sub-7 GTA 6 review score. Like that would be insane. That would be ridiculous.
That'd be a tight ship you'd run with all 2,000 of their fucking employees. We move on. 24 of the 25 games at Summer Games Fest that had the most mindshare, again, harkening back to Colin Neese's mind game data. Thanks for that, Colin. Were sequels. 24 of the 25 top games were sequels. Only 2 brand new franchises broke through, so that would be 23 of 25, but they were Stranger Than Heaven, a true new game, And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, which I refuse to not call a sequel. And then also we were on the fence about whether or not Wolverine is considered a sequel. I guess not, but like fucking come on, guys. They're selling because it's fucking Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. With that being said, is this a red flag or a green flag is the game mode here? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Wolverine, again, barely making the cut there. So we're going to say 24 of the 25 of the most exciting games, the games that people are the most excited about. This, again, is measured by consumption on YouTube, consumption on TikTok, articles, things that people are clicking on, etc., but not sentiment itself. Audiences are going straight for what they recognize, and the new niches are dying in the dark. Maybe with the exception of indie, but that's obviously not getting featured too heavily at Summer Games Fest compared to some of the more marquee titles. I'm going to go around the panel first. Red flag or green flag? Tony, starting with you, that we're having such a heavy dose of sequels taking up all the space.
Red flag.
Green.
Not good that like there's so many sequels.
Yeah, red flag. You think it's negative for the industry? You think it's negative for gaming?
Yeah,
You're upset about it for some reason.
Yeah.
Yellow.
I'm going green flag.
I'm gonna say red flag, but I don't think anybody has much of a choice.
I want to go to Koji first on this one because I
Yellow Wills.
personally am pretty strong in the red flag camp. Koji, tell me why I'm wrong.
You're wrong because we've proven that this is what people want. You know, people want the reheated fucking refried beans of gaming. It's just like, but it's not even just gaming though. You know what I mean? Like gaming is maybe one of the worst culprits of like, give me the same slop over and over and over again, and I will play it forever. And in fact, give me a new version of the game, but put all the old maps in it, and then it's the greatest game I've ever played. But like, this is just it, man. We look at almost all media, and people want what they know. Even something like The Odyssey. I keep going back to movies, right? But even something like The Odyssey is based on a story that is like as old as fucking time, right? So it's just like people don't want to discover new things, and when they do, it's either someone taking a really big swing or it's an indie. I mean, again, like Obsession or some of these games like Balatro, right? So I think that the reason I say it's a green flag is not because that's how I feel or that's how I want things to be, but I think it's green because we've proven to ourselves that this is what the audience is looking for. So like, we are in an entertainment business. Why not give these people what they want? You know, instead of like forcing what you think is good down their throat, like just let them have their garbage. You know, like I have a kid. I want her to eat vegetables. If she wants M&Ms every once in a while or more than every once in a while, I'm just like, fuck it. You know, I'm tired, man. Eat the M&Ms. I don't give a fuck.
I think the average diet, to use that analogy, is like 85% M&Ms right now, which is an issue. Tony, I'm going to you. You said it was a red flag.
I mean, that's my child's diet too, man. 85% M&Ms right now.
What's the counter, Tony?
Is Balatro like Balatro? Is that like a similar game? Just like a different one. It's like the Canadian version.
It's the sequel.
Yeah, it's the sequel. No, I think it's a red flag. Not actually because I agree with all the stuff Koji said. Like people want the pedestrian, and I'm certainly fall into that camp. I love Nickelback. You know, but I think that the more the reason I think of it's a red flag is because it gets like the airtime, right? Like I think that I would prefer to see the Game Awards spend more time on the weird indie stuff that isn't getting $1 billion in ad spend already to go promote it. And I think that speaks to how big the Game Awards have gotten, right? And I like Jeff. I think he's a great guy, but you know, he's trying to make money, and I think that reflects, you know, it increasingly reflects in the content of the show, and that's why I think it's a red flag for me. I'd like to see the coverage from the like small groups of people that still cover games like be a little less about the giant people paying money. Koji's gonna tell me I'm dumb.
Yeah, Koji frantically spamming the button, but too cowardly to play the shut the fuck up card. Go ahead.
Well, no, because I think he's making a point. But my issue here is that like we literally just spent I don't know how long talking about GTA 5, number 5. Right? Being like, this is going to be the greatest selling game of all time, and everyone's going to fucking love it, and everyone's going to buy it, and we're going to know life the shit out of it. It's the 5th game in a franchise, right? Oh, 6, excuse me. I black out 1 and 2 because they feel the same to me. But 6, it's like we're talking about just, I mean, obviously an updated version of more of the same, but just more of the same. And we're like, why don't people want new things? Because like no one wants to take those chances. No one wants to give it to them, and no one wants to spend the money to make, you know, a AAA. Our first two topics, in fact, not just GTA 6, but God of War. Like, we're just talking about franchise after franchise after franchise, and then we're like, why doesn't the Game Awards feature new stuff? Because no one's making anything new. You know? I mean, and maybe that's a red flag, but the red flag is just stop buying the reheated shit then.
Is there a way
we're all pre-ordering GTA 6?
Like,
with your wallet.
Obsession.
I mean, you're all
obsession.
Americans, and you guys are talking about the invisible handy of the market. Like, fucking, just like talk with your wallets here.
Dumb's react to that. Dumb, I'm tagging you in, man. What's your take on this one? Whenever you see,
I'm befuddled here. I mean, like, this is a green flag for me because seeing all of these games succeed as like an existing franchise, being able to have sequels, like, and being able to come back, that's a strong market to me. Like, I'd rather see that number at like 90% and see 10% indie. I get what you guys are saying too on that, but also put some respect on sequels' names. They're not just refried burritos. Like, they're often have crazy new updates or new takes or maybe even some cheeks. Like, so, you know, like, don't hate on, it's not just a refresh most of the time. I would say probably 50%. I get it. It's going to be the same walking simulator, but for the others, there are legitimate improvements that I think make this number look like, hey, great. Like, despite GTA 6 about to flop in the market, we're still seeing like all of these great indicators. So, you know, I'm for it.
Chris, I'm tagging you in, man. You've had to ship a couple of sequels in your day. What do we have to do here? You muted, big dog. Still cooked. I'm gonna go to Will's in the meantime.
No, I'm back.
Oh, back.
Sorry, that was fucking brilliant. And you guys didn't. No, people want the sequels. They want the brands, right? And I think it's good, especially for consoles, to have identifiable IP that brings people back. I'm a little sad that we didn't have like another Expedition 33 or some big like indie title that jumps to mind that, you know, that really distinguishes itself. I mean, I expect the big guys to do sequels. I don't, and frankly, it's all they're going to do, right? You're not going to get originals from, you know, certainly from first parties or whatever. Like, look at what my girl Asha's doing, right? She's just like, oh yeah, new Fallout, new Elder Scrolls, new, like, you're getting all the, you know, they're going to play all the hits, you know, when you're Leonard Skinner, you play Sweet Home Alabama, right? Nobody wants to hear the new record. But I think we need to rely on the indie community to do the original stuff, and we didn't have that this year. To me, it's just obvious everyone's fucking terrified of GTA 6, and nothing that is like any kind of different is going to get announced until after that.
Yeah.
I just can't understand why people look at the landscape and they go, let's just milk this forever. Like, if you make $1 billion, don't you go, let's take 50 million and try 5 or 10 different games for 5 million each and fucking obsession this to make the new IP that we can milk again forever. Like, they just seem to be completely content with the exact slate that they have with no additional even shots on goal, and it drives me crazy. Wills, I know it drives you crazy.
I think you are short shrifting Jin Atlas though, right? I mean, that was a dope looking fucking game.
Wait, which one?
Jin Atlas.
I didn't even see it. I don't even know what you're talking about.
The Fumito Ueda game.
Again,
Shadow Colossus.
Are you having a stroke, Chris?
Last Guardian.
The last 6 words that came out of your mouth. I know Shadow of the Colossus. I'll give you that. Wills, go ahead. We'll look up the trailer for whatever the fuck Chris is talking about.
Yes. No, I just think it's really funny that we're talking about this in the context of Summer Games Fest, because let's look at the incentives here, right? Geoff Keighley runs a show where he wants people to tune in so that other people will pay him to watch his trailers. Right. So how he does that is by showing things that people already know So it's like, oh shit, I know that thing. I'm going to watch this trailer. And then he goes around and finds all the other people who made money on their original IP and are now making another game and goes and charges them to put their sequel in the show. Like, that's how it's going to be. Like, I think it's just a nature of like obviously shows like this are going to be sequel focused because that's how they drive people to come and click on the shows.
Right.
I think they could do a better job of mixing those in and giving opportunities. And I think he actually, to give Jeff, is it Jeff or Jeff? I don't remember. But to give him credit, he does a pretty good job of that during the Game Awards to kind of spice things up. You know, his taste of games aside, but he does try. But like, I think that's at the end of the day, like how IPs are born is not through trailers and hype. And I think we've kind of been touching on this a couple of times over the past like couple of months in Gamified, is that games are big now. Games aren't niche. It's not like there aren't just a few of us looking for trailers online, looking for the news. Everyone is watching this stuff. This is the culture. This is the world. So it's going to be much more curated. And the actual news stuff is going to be coming from the underground because it isn't the mainstream anymore. One really good example, I think, I'm looking at Gamealytic right now, Fate Keeper, which dropped like a classic kind of like gameplay demo like a few years ago. And it was like, holy shit, this is Skyrim, Dark Souls, Dark Might and Magic. They dropped a $10 early access build on Steam that's basically just a playable demo. And they've made over $2.5 million on that $10 build of what's probably going to be a $60, $70 game. These are how you build IPs. These are how you rope people in. It's not by advertising at Summer Game Fest. It's by bringing people in early. And I'm looking at the top selling chart right now on Steam. A lot of these games are new IPs. A lot of these are bustling indies that are out here doing the work. And eventually that's where, like, it's when those teams make money that you see them in Summer Games Fest. Does this mean that there are no new IPs happening? Absolutely not. But by the nature of the show being structured the way it is, you're just not going to see new IPs.
Agreed.
That's a great way of putting it, man. Peyton, anything you wanted to add to this one?
No, I was just head nodding with Will's because that's my point too. It's like for Summer Games Fest, it's just not the location that you're going to find indies or anything like that. And I don't think it lessens the games industry to any degree because you still have like all the Next Fests that are happening, right? Like Steam Next Fest is happening right now for a way to be able to have demos to get exposure. And if you do really well on Next Fest, then it increases your wish list within like 14 days out of like you releasing. You're going to go popular upcoming, and then you have a chance for getting played by like streamers like Chameleon. That is the way that you get to a successful release of a new indie title versus getting onto Summer Games Fest and hoping that, you know, a lot of eyeballs watch you. You want to go underground, Discords, Steam Next Fest, going to conferences all around, getting your demo played, doing focus groups. Those are the ways in which that you are going to become one of those IPs that you can look back and say like, oh, that's really cool. That Summer Games Fest was the mountaintop, not so much where I start.
It's also always just going to be really hard to have your game that nobody's ever played or seen before be talked about more than a Wolverine game. You know, and the Wolverine game looks phenomenal. I can't wait to try it. But with that being said, like just strictly on what this is judged by, which is trailer watch time and comments made and engagement and stuff like that, it's going to be really, really, really hard to outpace something that everybody's already familiar with because it's just much easier to talk about than game number 37 that looks cool that I have to remember the name of and I have to, you know, find their Twitter account and tag that, you know, all the things that go into how these things are measured. So makes a lot of sense. We move 100%. On. Hardware prices spike. Is this cloud gaming's moment? Is Stadia coming back, boys? Valve finally priced the Steam machine, the box everybody calls the Gabe Cube, and it landed north of $1,000. It looks like $1,049 for the base model, and I think $1,349 for the enhanced version, maybe even a little higher than that. I got to give Knock a shout out. It is his birthday today, by the way. Big shout out to Knock.
Happy birthday, buddy.
So we gave
Happy
him the
birthday,
day
Knock.
off. But he was saying whenever we did this topic originally, he insisted that this thing was going to be more than $1,000. And man, he was taking victory laps in the chat. So I appreciate that.
He wasted no time, Sam. He wasted no time.
He did not.
I don't remember anyone disagreeing with him. Maybe I missed that.
No, it's in his head, just like last week.
He was acting like we all got in his face.
Yeah. You guys were saying it was going to be $200 for the GameCube. He wasn't the only one.
I disagreed with him.
Oh, thanks, Koji. I
the record.
appreciate that. Nintendo also announced price increases. Sony's raising the price. Xbox is terrified of releasing their next thing because it sounds like it's going to be too expensive. Matthew Ball says storage costs roughly quadrupled since late 2025 and could 5x by the time the 2027 holiday window comes around. And the next Xbox is being rethought because it's too expensive. The kicker, IGN reports card. This actually, Colin insisted that I put this into the ad read. He said IGN's report card can't keep the pricing story straight. The Switch 2 got a 7 out of 10, digged on its price jump. PS5 got a 7 out of 10 because you have to think twice because it's $700. But the priciest box, the Steam machine, scored the highest at 8 out of 10 and got called one of the cheapest, easiest ways to enter PC gaming, which is, I don't know, kind of fair. But the great caveat here is cloud gaming doesn't only exist digitally. You have to have a fucking server somewhere. So the hardware still exists. It's just not being purchased by the consumer in order to be able to access these things. So
data centers, Sam.
Yeah, how do we consolidate these two things where hardware is really expensive, the consumer doesn't want to buy it, but maybe cloud gaming, I don't know.
What am I bullish or bullshit on?
On
What
cloud
is the-
gaming. Is it
on cloud gaming. Oh, bullshit.
Bullish.
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 I'm bullish on it.
I'm bullshit for now.
Chris, all right, take us away.
I'm bullish on it because look, the entire world went cloud a decade ago, and I can't even believe it's still a fucking controversy in gaming.
Yeah.
You know, the whole model is stupid. Like you have to wait hours to download a game, and then you have to get a million patches, and not just for your game, but for Steam and for your OS and all this other stuff, or for your bot or for your console. I mean, it's a terrible user experience. It drives people away. Everything else is instant on, right? You look at it may not be the Xbox crowd, but you look at what the announcement yesterday from Night School and what they're going to do with some of the games coming on Netflix. There's going to be some interesting games on there. And if any one of those takes off in any way, you're going to see a lot more of that, right? But the reality is that, we're distributing. I mean, and one of the biggest games on the fucking planet Earth, and no one ever gives them any credit, is Roblox. And it's a cloud-based platform, and it's on every device. It's the most multiplayer game there is. It's on your Switch. It's on your PC. It's on all the consoles. It's one of the top 10 games played every week, really one of the top 5 on console. Like, so don't tell me cloud gaming is like a fantasy or whatever. It's already here. We just have to wake the fuck up and stop making software like it's the year 2000,
Great takes from Chris out the gate. I see Tony spamming at me, and Dub was throwing poop emojis, which I'm real curious about. Let's go to Tony and then Dub.
Yeah, I want to live in the world that Chris lives in, and I agree with Roblox, but like Roblox is like not a very good looking game, right? It's pretty ugly.
The cheeks are good here,
and the cheeks are a lot squarer.
Where's the over under on cheeks in this episode?
And like everything about a Roblox experience is, I'm gonna use the word janky, but it's like not. It's not. The movement isn't tight. You can't like make a real platformer. You can't make a real like any sort of like visceral type experience.
Finish him.
Have you seen their AI rendering stuff though, and their high-end rendering stuff?
That Call of Duty sim that somebody was releasing was fucking crazy looking. All right,
yeah,
Tony.
it did look really good.
You tried? But have you tried to play one of those on your phone? Because
No.
let me tell you, it doesn't work.
No.
Yeah.
Damn it, Tony.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, it works. It works great for their use case, right?
Oh, hilarious.
But I think that we're still a ways off, and I actually don't think I think technologically I think you're absolutely right. Like, it exists. I just think that the economic burden, or like the inertia of the existing incumbents is such that it's just like going to be another decade before it really gets too expensive to make the hardware, and it goes the way of Blockbuster, or like someone else makes a new thing that is so much cheaper to make that they just have to do it. But I don't see any indications that's going to happen. And so like I think about just like the org structure, just like the 7 VPs that you would have to fire if you moved from a console-based product to a full cloud-based product is like that to me represents 5 to 10 years of organizational redesign, right? That's what I don't see that happening. Look at Koji. Koji says I'm full of shit.
Yeah, great counter punches. Koji, I'm going to go to you since you seem impassioned about this one. Then we'll tag Dubin.
Show of emotes on this panel here. When was the last time anyone here tried the NVIDIA service GeForce Now?
It was in high school.
Nobody.
So
I really think, and I mean no offense to anyone here, but you guys should all shut the fuck up because you should try it before you have an opinion on this topic. It actually works really fucking well. Really, really fucking well. I was playing Arc Raiders on my Apple phone with a Bluetooth controller just fine.
That's
just
sick.
Fine. So I think that the technology is there. It's just like maybe a marketing problem, or the fact that maybe the people who are making a lot of the consoles don't want you to go there because like they want to sell you peripherals and all the other bullshit that you need. Like I really think that if people here try GeForce Now, they would really see it. And as far as like server farms or whatever is concerned, like
Finish him.
Wait. This man's throwing thumbs down at emojis at me, and then he said the same shit that I just said. I said the technology exists, and
the only issue that Tony's having right now is that he's like it's on a timetable, right? He's like 10 years. There's no timetable on this. It's bullish or bullshit on everything. And you said it also in yours. 10 years. You said it's coming. It's
All
bullish.
right, I'm bullish. All right, I'm bullish.
Koji, anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I would just add try it, and like NVIDIA is the one making the hardware, so they have it to provide, right? So it's not, they don't have a shortage, so their server farms are working just fucking fine.
What do you pay for that experience?
It's tiered like anything else, and I'm Canadian, so my pricing probably doesn't line up to whatever pricing you guys would get. So I don't want to
like hours based. It's like you get this many hours of Arc Raiders or something.
No, but here's where it is kind of bullshit. Like, it uses your Steam library, so you still have to buy the games.
Okay, yeah, that sort of makes sense to me. All right, Dub, tagging you in.
Yeah, I mean, my distorted view on why this is like ultimately bullish and why everyone's going to be cloud gaming is because, and the thumbnail is what sent me down this path. So just hang on with me on this one. But Amazon, Costco, all the major distributors of consoles are going to over allocate and just end up with way too much inventory of every single console. And then they're going to start using those consoles as cloud gaming services and start promoting it themselves. And we'll just see all these companies naturally just get forced into growing the cloud gaming market because they have so much debt in all of the inventory they have because of GTA 6 flopping and not being able to sell as many consoles as they expected to sell.
It all comes back to this terrible GTA take. All right, let's go over to Peyton.
I just want to say is like the last time I played it, Koji, was in like high school. And the reason why I did it was because like I couldn't afford a console. Right. So like in terms of that, there's also like a lot of motivation which is the whole reason why we're talking about this topic, which is Steam's rise in price, right? Or, Knock, shout out Knock. And the reason why I wanted to do it was because I wanted to play these types of games that I couldn't on the current hardware that I had. And when it comes down to it, that's just going to be more and more relevant in the future. And also I forget who said it in terms of Roblox, is that they're just a lot more trained at that age too to have server-based games. And so when it comes down to it, it's also the consoles are having longer and longer releases in time. And so I think a lot of people are just going to be more and more okay with it, especially what Koji said with everything else, or maybe Chris said it, everything else is digital, right? Everything else is this, and gaming is kind of that last one. And then like to Koji's point, it's already here. I remember playing it in high school, and I remember playing a game for the first time. I think it was Division or something like that. And it was the first time that I got to play like a high fidelity type of game like that. And I thought it was really cool. And I just, went to college after that and everything like that. So I never played it, or I could afford a console and I bought it.
Quick reminder, though, we find out over and over and over again that Gen A does not give a fuck about fidelity. And Chris and I have bonded over this experience of being like, why are we making AAA titles for a generation that literally doesn't give a fuck what it looks like? And they actually get overwhelmed by the fact that it's high fidelity. So I don't know. I mean, then maybe that's a good thing for cloud gaming, too, because it takes less resources in order to be able to play these things. Wills, I'm going to go to you for a quick take. We got 2 more topics. We're going to squeeze into the last 20 minutes here. Go ahead.
No, yeah, mine's going to be super quick. I think Koji brings up a really interesting point. Cloud gaming works, and NVIDIA can do it, the largest fucking company on the planet. Why aren't we hearing about it? There's a reason for that. You know, like, I think that's what makes me bullshit, is the fact that they have these capabilities, it can work, and they're not marketing it, and they're not pushing it. There's got to be something about the fundamental unit economics of cloud gaming that it just isn't allowing it to thrive in the way it should be, because I cloud gamed myself for the exact same reason that Peyton did, and you know, it was a bearable experience. But at the end of the day, as soon as I got a paycheck, I bought my own PC, and I think that's the fact that they're not pushing people like me to go to cloud gaming, if it is that possible and is that accessible, shows me that the people who are making it don't believe in it. So that's why I'm bullshit.
I think the pushback there would just be that everybody in the world is compute constrained right now. And so why would they take those resources that are already very expensive that they can make, 90 cents on the dollar right now, doing other things like fucking medical infrastructure or whatever for somebody that's willing to pay them $1 bajillion to sell like a $19.99 subscription to gamers that like already don't give a fuck. They'll do that in 5 years whenever they have all the compute made, right? But that doesn't mean it's bearish forever. It's just, again, it's a timetable thing. Do you think that's the case?
100%. No, I think it's possible, and I've experienced that it's possible, but the unit economics don't make sense right now. So I can't be bullish on it until the unit economics make sense, because they're not going to allocate the resources.
All right, good takes, boys. Moving on, Unreal Blueprint's deprecation. We're getting rid of the thing that Claire Obscure was made with, which is something that a lot of people, including Chris Heatherly on this panel, is not very excited about. Epic announced Unreal Engine 6, which will have early access at the end of 2027, a foundational rewrite to a new scene graph framework and to Verse, the language from Unreal Editor for Fortnite, with plans to eventually deprecate actors and blueprints. Blueprints stay supported in early Unreal Engine 6 with conversion tools promised, and Unreal Engine 5 is untouched, but the direction is clear. Why it sounds like a bomb is because blueprints are Unreal's node-based visual scripting, the thing that lets artists and designers who don't write C++ build real gameplay. They've been the cornerstone of Unreal's accessibility since Unreal Engine 4, which again led to Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Game of the Year winner, and reportedly 95% built in blueprints, even by its own programmers. The backlash is pretty loud. Devstate invalidates years of tutorials, guts the education pipeline, and alienates indies, and with many calling it Epic's biggest mistake in comparing it to Unity's runtime fee fiasco that we experienced last year. Chris Heatherly, I know this is a buy or sell. Usually we go around the horn, but I'm just curious from your perspective, what's the current state of this thing with the people that you're connected with? We have the 90-second time. I'll let you cook on this however long you want, because I'm super curious from your perspective. And are you buying or selling this decision? I know it's 2 years down the road that they'll be really getting rid of this thing, but what's your perspective here?
I'm selling it, but not, and I hate to say that because I love Epic and I'm a big Epic stan, and I've said a million times that Disney should buy Epic, et cetera, et cetera. But it's not the blueprints thing to me that bothers me. It's that they're talking about a major change in the engine because they're getting rid of the scene graph and replacing it with this verse-based scene graph. And the thing with Verse is if Joe Ferenz were here, right, he would say he said it on this show before that he doesn't think Roblox is a good enough development platform right now, and basically he gave up on it to go back to Roblox and just focus on Roblox. One, because the audience was small, but also because it was too limiting technically. And so you're getting up in front of all your developers and you're saying, hey, this thing that you guys think kind of sucks is now the future of the technology of the engine. And those of you who thought it was just a toy that we were doing on the side, well, I got news for you. It's the heart of the whole thing, and now you have to use it now. I think that went over like a lead balloon. But also, like, I just feel like Verse is a fucking boondoggle. Like, I understand why Tim is doing it, because what he wants is he wants programs inside of programs. He wants, a car with its physics and all the mechanisms that make it work to be able to go from any game to any game to any game. But that's not a use case that people are completely convinced by, as those of us in Web3 who stake our careers on interoperability well know. So, what people really want is they want to make better games, and they want to make them cheaper and faster. And I know that this is eventually going to go in that direction, but the roundabout path that they're taking to get there. And I mean, this thing is not going to be available in early alpha until end of next year. So it won't be, prime time until 28.
Yeah.
Like, everything is going to happen in the next 2 years with AI. So I just feel like
Finish him.
Oh, Koji.
I had to cut him off, man. This is killing me. This is fucking killing me. From the guy who was like, anyone on your staff who doesn't want to use AI, you should fucking fire him. Like, Unreal themselves were just like, hey, we're replacing this shit with AI. So, like, it is a simplified thing for people who don't want to learn to code in engine, and they're making it even simpler with AI. And you're like, no, this is an outrage.
But the models.
Well, no, hold on. I think it's completely insane, because like nothing's stopping you from using the current version of Unreal Engine. You're not forced to upgrade. They don't make you say, hey, you've been working this way and now we're going to force you to use this other tool that you don't want to use. Just keep using the existing engine. It's just, if you want to use the latest and greatest, then you have to play by their rules. And I think that's just the way that it works. And, like in the same way that if one of your guys didn't want to use an AI tool and you want to fire him, if you don't want to use their tool, then get the fuck out. And I think it's pretty hypocritical to say otherwise.
My issue is not, oh, you need to use AI. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's a huge technical transition that breaks everything that everybody has built. And it puts them in a position where now they have to decide, do they want to keep building on Unreal, or are they going to build in Unity or some other platform that's not true.
That's not true though, because they can use the existing version of the engine. No one's forcing them to upgrade, right? Like,
yeah, but eventually you'll have to, right? Because you have to compete, and it's got features that you want to use, and it breaks everything you've got. That's what I'm saying. Now, maybe they'll come up with some AI migration path, and it'll be all super smooth.
Let's tag in Tony.
I know that Sam is also working on a make video games with AI platform. And so as I see the large behemoths stumbling around what to do with people who want to make video games without strong technical expertise, and whether or not they're right with this decision or wrong about it, it's clear that it's pretty controversial. I feel like I could not be more bullish that this part of the industry is like super ripe for disruption, because I think that there's still a lot of like I think this is a great example of like Unreal Epic had a thing that like enabled unambiguously enabled people who weren't going to make video games, or not the type of video games that they were making in Unreal, make them, and they've removed that as an option for their latest and greatest, and that to me speaks to like a poor understanding of the world as I see it. I think that big companies should be expanding the way that they're democratizing development and not contracting. This guy can't say ripe. I love you, Koji.
Sometimes is the best content. We got to find a way to put those messages up on the screen. Sometimes. Does anybody else have a take on this one? I know not our entire panel has experience with actually working with Unreal Engine or working with teams that are using these tools, and so I don't want to give a bunch of uneducated takes just for the sake of filling time. Does anybody else want to take a stab at this, or any other thoughts? Koji, Chris, Tony. Wills, I know you work with a lot of indie studios. If not, as I disappear because my camera died. If not, we'll just move on in just a second.
I think the Koji's point, the blueprints thing is overstated. I think they will. Even I saw a video with one of the devs saying that they will have some kind of visual node editor eventually that replaces it, and that to me seems like the easiest thing to migrate with AI. So I think that's a little bit of a freak out. I'm more worried about the bigger engine transition. Sorry, Wills.
No. I think you're 100% correct. Go on, Koji.
I was just going to say that I agree with Chris. I think that they're just going to charge you for the same thing in the next engine. You're just going to have to pay more for it. Sorry, go ahead.
Prestige gaming.
Yeah, I think it was I think what we can really take out of this is it was a horrible marketing flop and understanding of why people use your engine and the things that people value about using Unreal and the tools that they want to continue with. I think because at the end of the day, what they are pointing to is a complete reimagining of exactly how we make games and it not needing this kind of janky place button system and it being much more integrated with an AI and with their own bespoke coding language, but saying, hey, that thing that you like, we're going to destroy it as kind of the headline. And like most of the feedback and most of the discussion around this is people being like, hey, this sounds really bad, and then people in the comments being like, yeah, it sounds a lot worse than it is. They're actually not getting rid of it the whole way. It's not going to disappear tomorrow night. This isn't actually the end of the world. So I think that that's about all you can take from this, is that it was a horrible marketing fumble by the Epic team.
I think that's right.
Yeah, speaking out of ignorance here too, I just don't understand why a node-based system doesn't work well with AI. Like, it's a great way of visualizing what the fuck is happening, and so I don't see a natural
it does work with AI.
Yeah,
Comfy UI is the most used UI tool for creatives, and it's a node editor, right?
Yeah.
It works with the AI. The reason people shit on it is because as your game gets more complex, the lines start to stack on top of one another and it becomes impossible to see what's going on. And so, but I think there's better ways to visualize that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we move on. Best of luck to everybody that's a professional Blueprint user. Hope you guys work that out.
Good luck, Expedition 33.
Yeah. Good luck for Expedition 34.
Guess there's
Congrats on the
Yeah. Immutable is trying to become the AppLovin of games. This is my opinion. They don't say this, but Immutable was a $3.5 billion crypto unicorn built on Web3 gaming. It just cut 29 roles, not the most, especially with all the layoffs we've seen in gaming. And it outsourced most of its in-house development and pivoted the whole company to being an AI marketing platform, Immutable Audience, aimed, in my opinion, straight at AppLovin, which is valued north of $150 billion. Because whenever you're worth $3.5 billion, naturally you have to find a thing that is, a valuation that you think you could achieve that would make your investors very happy. And so $150 billion sounds pretty good. The backdrop is a collapsed average Web3 gaming token, down 95% since 2022. The sector VC fell from $4 billion in 2022 to $360 million in 2025, and it's looking even worse in 2026. And Immutable IMX token trades have fallen to 14 cents versus $9 at the peak. Co-founder James Ferguson says they still have 10 years of runway. Early traction, Ubisoft did see a 3x conversion lift to 10.2% on Might and Magic Fates. Me and Dub have both played that, met the team. They're good people. And they had added 40 games last month to their... I don't even know what that means, to add a game for Immutable. I guess that means audiences, they're using audience, but they lost $48 million in 2024, and they will not break even this year, although it is an internal goal, as they've stated. So the question is, what are the odds that these guys have a chance at becoming an actual AppLovin competitor? They have a war chest. They have, a goal. They've been working on this for a couple of years now. And what do we think, boys? Let's go around the horn. Give me your odds on a percentage basis. So obviously 100% means they're already achieving it, and 0% means not a chance in hell. Tony, kicking it off.
I'll give him a 30.
Yeah, I was at 29%.
I'll give him a 31%.
You fucking Price is right in him.
Yeah, what the frick?
Is there a negative score I can give?
Yeah, sure.
Negative 10%.
Yeah, I'm going to go 33%.
45.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good scores. Tony, I know you want to jump in on this one. Give me why you chose 30%.
Yeah, I think that, being a founder now, it feels like getting over the first hump is really like gets you into that, like you might be one of the 10% of startups that make it, and they already did that, right? Like they have a bunch of funding, they just had to fire a bunch of people, but they had a bunch of people to fire, so they have money, they have a business, they have the atomic pieces that you need to go and make something successful. And I think we've all met people over at Immutable. I don't know who's left, but like I've met people over there that I didn't respect very much, but I've met a lot of people over there that I respect a lot, and so. I think the combination of have money left and have a vision to go run at, I don't think it's I wouldn't bet my whole paycheck on it. And I that's why I gave it a 30%. I don't think it's anywhere near guaranteed or even better than a coin flip. But like, I don't think it's like hey, we have an idea and we're in mom's garage eating pizza, whiteboarding still, right? Like, and so that's why I think, it's better than a 25%, better than a quarter chance that they I don't know even that they like take over the AppLovin space as much as they just like don't fail as a company, right? I think there's a large gap between we made the investors the amount of money they thought that they were going to make during crime season in crypto, and we're a successful company that employs dozens of people at a living wage that you can be proud of. I think that's where they'll end up, and then hopefully someone will buy them, and the 5 people that have been there forever will get rich.
Yeah, I mean, a 10% of AppLovin would be $15 billion, which would be a 5x from where the company currently stands. So, I mean, everybody would be happy with that market share, you have to assume. Will's tagging you in.
Yeah, so this is actually really interesting because according to my resume, I'm Immutable enemy number 1 and have been for the last 3 years. But it's been quite funny because I've been doing a lot of traveling the last basically all of this year. I've been to Brazil, I've been to Europe, I've been doing stuff in the US as well. And everywhere I go, Immutable is there. And I've actually had a lot of really interesting chats with the team about what they're building. And basically what they're trying to do is they're looking at the distribution problem for games. They're looking at publishers and they're looking at games who want to reactivate users via a variety of means. Their primary focus right now is email campaigns and building user databases based on email campaigns and reactivating users across titles through those campaigns and identifying them by purchasing value, by the other games that they play, basically adding in another level to the wish listing process that allows you to create an enhanced database of the users that you have. And I think that that's a really valuable problem. I think if you follow Robbie on LinkedIn, he's always posting about Steam pages, investors, and he's really trying to solve the problem that game developers are facing right now. And that's my 45% comes from the fact that I think AppLovin is its own fucking beast, and I think becoming a competitor to AppLovin is basically impossible. But what they're doing right now, as Tony says, I think they can become a successful company, and they are doing all of the right things to do that. Even in the sort of 4 months that I've sort of seen them across the shows, they've rejigged their pricing model to make it more accessible to indie developers and to get people in and get people to start using it. Anything that gives users and developers more control and more understanding of the data that they are generating through their game and allows them to monetize through that is insanely bullish. And that seems where Immutable is laser focused right now. So I'm bullish.
Koji, Immutable is one of the only chains that you don't have a game on. Take us away.
For the record, all the guys that I've met there, like the first guy that always comes to mind is Soro, really nice guy. And I meet with him every time we're in the same city, similar to Will's, I guess. But the reason I give them 33%, it has nothing to do with them in particular. I think that like Web3 gaming, the sort of success rate or survival rate, let's just say even, is very low. It might be even less than 1 in 3, you know? And so I think that like that's sort of where the number comes from. I think making moves to extend your runway at this point makes the most sense, gives you the most time to figure out where the market's going and your place in it. Because I think that with anything, it's about survival, right? We look at like the original web bubble, right? And it's the survivors out of that web bubble. Like Amazon is the greatest example, right? They started out, they were just a bookstore, almost went bankrupt, the whole bubble burst, and then they're just like, wait, we have this whole platform, let's just sell things that aren't books and see how that works, right? And so like giving yourself enough time to pivot and enough runway gives you a good chance of survival. It's just whether or not you can find that fit. Because I feel like anyone who's doing this is going to be exploring a lot of different avenues before they land on where they need to be. But if you can survive past the bubble to the next boom, then you have a chance of being one of the titans.
Dub, I'm tagging you in. I know you have a lot of personal interactions with these guys as well. We've both worked with them in different capacities in the past. Curious what you think, besides just Price is writing everybody else's answer. About it.
Dude, I think 29 was even too high. Like thinking about it, I was an ambassador for them since they started, and like probably won't be an ambassador after this. But like all of their products have always been sub tier. Their wallet integration was always really bad. All of the games that they had, like Guild of Guardians, was a terrible like consumer experience for being a part of. And they just announced that they're sunsetting that and focusing on the TCG, which makes sense and stuff like that. But like when I think about IMX, I've never thought about quality or anything like that. And now hearing that, this is the first time I'm hearing about the whole AI marketing play, and I just like laughed out loud. I couldn't contain myself because it's like so late to the game on doing this, and feels like a kind of a last straw of what they can do. And like hopefully, you know, we'll be able to have a sub-tier thing that gets them going. And I think there is like a legit 20 to 30% chance on that working out. But seeing and being like a firsthand user consumer ambassador for their platform and products is just like, the quality was never there, despite the vision and like all the right words at the conference is being said. It never translated into a great product for the actual gamers that they were building for in the first place. So it doesn't give me hope for chasing AI marketing, which is like 6 months too late, you know, to be announcing that.
I know Peyton wants to jump in here. I also saw Chris nodding along with some of the stuff Dub was talking about. Peyton, I'll go to you. And if you could give me your MVP as well as we approach the end here, I'd appreciate it.
I'll give my MVP to Will's before I start. I just wanted to kind of like counter react some of like what Dub is saying, because like that was in like blockchain where like, you know, like they're going to AI marketing and they have like a gigantic, like in my opinion, they have a gigantic war chest to like knock it out. And guess who adopts like AI better than any other demographic of people? Are freaking crypto people. Like, because the fire hose of information, we've been training our bodies for this for the last 4 or 5 years of intaking this amount of information this quickly, this fast. Freaking fire hose. Chris is doing the suck the dick thing. It's absolutely true. Like, it's absolutely true. Like, we just have so much. We've just taken so much information over the course of this. Like, meme coin season was like the last like runner, and then we're going into AI, and everybody outside of crypto are saying like, man, this goes so fast. It's like, nah, this is a Tuesday, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that is what it is. And that is what that crypto team is coming from. And I think they're adopting. And also, they haven't, like, I think, like, if you look at Robbie's also LinkedIn, like, he's crushing it. Like, I will say he's also crushing it from like a marketing ghostwriter. Definitely not Robbie. It's a ghostwriter for sure. But like, it's, you know, they crush it, right, in terms of that side of things. And that's what you want to be like when it comes down to marketing. And then agree with Wills. Just wanted to layer on top of it. Steam is really gatekeeping of like information, and like has a lot of like data, right? And they don't share it with you. So they don't know, like, you don't know who your wish lists are. Like in terms of like emails or anything like that, like it is all dictated by Steam, right? For this. And so it's a black box as soon as you give Steam the keys. And everyone needs to give their keys because it's Steam. So they know they can get away with it. And so what Immutable is doing is trying to capture them right before that. And I think it's a really good like test case. And I don't think the technology is as sophisticated as what Dub is saying. I agree with Dub's takes. I just don't agree that like they need that level of consistency to transfer over to AI marketing in that side of things.
It does seem like the only chance they would have it catching AppLovin, or at least like taking some of their market share, would be adopting new tools faster or approaching a different audience segment. But it seems like AppLovin has damn near a monopoly on this specific part of the market when it comes to gaming. Sorry, I'm losing track of who had their hand.
I think it was Chris.
Oh yeah, Chris. That's right. Go back to Chris.
But they're not doing ads, right? They're doing the Steam CRM thing. So it's not really AppLovin.
No,
it's a marketing platform for
Yeah.
games primarily that are on Steam, right?
Yep.
Which I think is, look, it's somebody needed to do it. I think what they're trying to do is great. I guess I was very negative up front. I was negative on it as a competitor to AppLovin, but are you asking, could this get traction and do well? Yeah. Do I think that it's big enough to save the investors in Immutable? No, I think it's a niche, and I think that if you were sitting on the kind of money that he's got, you probably would have to swing bigger, right? So it's a little bit of an odd. What's that?
Don't you think that would make this a stepping stone then? Like, don't they have to? Maybe they use this to get to the point where they start trying to take AppLovin market share, because that's my whole thesis, right? Is, to your point, it's like they're pivoting the entire company to do this, and you can't do that to be a $400 million company whenever you're at 3.5 billion, and that's already down from 40 or whatever the ridiculous all-time high was. That's like just not how these kinds of things work whenever you raise that amount of money.
Just to jump in,
that's why I'm negative on it. I just don't think it can be big enough.
But it's definitely a stepping stone because the attribution in PC is so horrible right now. Like, that's why when you talk to any developer, it's all about organic, because we have no idea where shit's coming from, because you can't pay for stuff and justify the expense. That's why organic is so big, is because the only rational thing to do is to do it for free and hope that it works, because that return is so much more justifiable than anything else. And I think that attribution in PC gaming is a real problem. And frankly, I think it bleeds over into why mobile doesn't have high quality products on it, is because the only way that you would be able to get a high quality game onto mobile is by attracting people who play PC games and putting them onto mobile. I think that there's this whole system here that's completely fucked that Immutable is trying to address. This is a very small piece of the puzzle. Could it be as big as AppLovin? Definitely. Like, the fact that we don't have the kind of attribution for PC that we do for mobile, given how much people on PC love to spend, is fucking atrocious. The person who is able to figure that out is going to be the same person that's going to be able to put high quality games back onto phones and make them viable from a marketing and a funding perspective, and that person is going to be a billionaire. So I think that they're attacking very much the right verticals, but it is incredibly small right now. Like, it is email campaign. But I think it's a very, very exciting problem that they're addressing.
On that note,
I mean, the thing though is, if it really comes down to real attribution, like, AppLovin has probably the best attribution and ad network in the world, but their biggest competitor is Google. And those guys, like, their businesses are built around that, right? So you're talking about a lot of engineers who are the best engineers in the world at that kind of tech. I think that's where it's tough, right? Is like, if the PC market needed an attribution solution that badly, that it was a big enough market, you would see those other guys go into it. And if Immutable demonstrates it, then they'll just come in and crush it, I think. But hey, I wish them well.
Chris, who's your MVP?
My MVP is going to be Will's.
Will's 2 votes. Who you got?
I'm going to give it to Koji. I think Koji really crushed it this week. I like his takes.
Koji, who you giving it to?
Oh my God, I muted myself again. Never give me MVP. I'm going to give it to Chris because I like somebody that I can butt heads with. Somebody that gives me something to think about.
Yeah, so same here. Same here, buddy. I love you too.
Love that energy. That's the gamified way. All right, Dub, who you got?
What, Chris? He made me feel smart.
Tony, how about you?
Will's, other than that terrible take about word of mouth not mattering, that's a really intelligent thing to say.
It was early enough in the episode, Tony, that I forgot it. So
he's undone it. It was entertaining, so it still worked. All right, Wills, congratulations, MVP of the day. Take your 60 seconds of FaceTime, plug game cred or whatever else.
I don't know. I like frankly, what I want to plug is that problem is like that's something I've been thinking about a lot. Is we started off talking about attribution, about word of mouth, about like high high quality users and paying users, and it blows my mind every single day that we have people who are willing to spend thousands of dollars on hardware, on games, and we haven't found ways to mobilize those people to mobile or in some meaningful way. And like the fact that like we're so focused on organic traffic and we're so focused on, you know, mind share and the stuff that we're talking about when we actually have no idea how that's going to convert is it blows my mind. And I think that there's so many like interesting potential solutions out there for those problems. So go think on it.
I love that, man. Congratulations. Another great episode from the kid. If you guys enjoyed this episode of Gamified, do me a favor, share it with a friend in the industry that might enjoy it too. And with that being said, we will see you back here, same time, same place next week. Your boy's not going on vacation anytime soon, all right?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Love you guys. See you next week.